Golden State Media Concepts Fantasy Football Podcast is your one-stop shop for fantasy football news and advice. Can't decide on who to draft on the first round? Going gaga on how to line up your team. Got you covered. Traditional leagues, dynasty league, PPR league, IDP league, even daily fantasy football league. Join us as we break down all the questions of fantasy football. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Fantasy Football Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to the Golden State Media Concepts Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Tate, and today we're talking running backs. Everyone always gets excited about the running backs. And today we're going to talk about who are the top 10 running backs that you want to draft. Also, we're going to be talking about 10 sleepers that I think you should consider as well. So we're going to be covering a number of running backs today, along with running backs that you may not, let's say if you may not end up getting one of the top 10. So what are some of those guys that you didn't see coming, or that you weren't expecting to have a big blowout year? Well, we're going to touch on those as well. So we're going to give you 10 surefire shots, and we're going to rank them in order. And then we're going to give you 10. You got to take a flyer on these guys, but these are guys that could actually change your season. Stay tuned. The list is coming. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. And like I said, we are talking about running backs. And when we first started out, we're talking about the top 10. And the first thing I started thinking about is who's my top 10 running backs? And I wanted to start off with number 10, Eddie Lacy. The reason why Eddie Lacy is number 10 for me is strictly because of the fact that Eddie Lacy is that guy who had so much potential, and everyone was expecting big things out of Eddie Lacy, but last year it kind of failed you. It was a big letdown with Eddie Lacy. He came in heavy, and it really affected his performance, and it was quite disappointing on how he turned out. And I know a lot of you are a little reluctant to work with Eddie this go around, and I understand that. But a couple things, the reason why Eddie's on my list, and that is this. First off, Green Bay. Green Bay has Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is determined to have a big comeback year, and I believe he will. When you have a situation where you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, it makes your running game so much easier. And I think Green Bay is on a mission. They're one of the teams that a lot of people have favored to actually win and go to the Super Bowl. That's one of those definite playoff picks that people are looking at. So when you have a guy like Eddie Lacy, who will be on a team that has, they'll have Jordy Nelson back, Randall Cobb. They have a situation where you're going to have to respect Aaron Rodgers, Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb. You're not going to be able to key on that running game. And because of that, this is going to make Eddie Lacy that guy who will have more of a breakout year than most people are expecting. So my number 10 guy is actually Eddie Lacy. Now, my number 9 guy, this is a guy that a lot of people are not very keen on, and that's out of Atlanta. Out of Atlanta is Devontae Freeman. He had a heck of a year last year. He had a breakout year, and I don't understand why so many people, so many of the experts, are really down on him this year. They're not expecting a lot out of him. Matter of fact, most people put him down as one of the potential busts for this season. I don't see it that way. I think he's a good running back. I think he's gonna, he has Julio Jones and Matty Ice, which I think will really help him out as far as how not being able to key on him. You're gonna have to pay attention to Julio Jones. I think he's a good pick. So I think he's a guy that you should definitely consider picking up in your draft. I would look at him as an early second round draft pick. That's where I would look at him at. Now, I'm going to move on from number 9, and I'm going to go to my number 8 running back. My number 8 running back is LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn McCoy is my number 8 running back, and the reason why he's my number 8 is the fact is that LaShawn McCoy, given the right situation, he could actually, Buffalo wants to run the ball. LaShawn can run that ball. And, you look at a situation where he's going to get a lot of carries. He's going to be asked to do a lot. And he's more than happy to do it. I could see this as a breakout year for him. Where, last year was kind of like the first time he's getting used to kind of a new offense. You got a healthy Sammy Watkins. You got a now more experienced Tyrod Taylor who had a phenomenal year, and you got LaShawn McCoy who can catch the ball and run the ball. He's that guy that people have forgotten about how great he is. I'm telling you guys, get reacquainted with this guy. This guy is a guy that can change your fantasy football draft. Okay. My next guy, my number 7 guy I'm looking at is Le'Veon Bell. And you say number 7 is Le'Veon Bell. The reason why Le'Veon is number 7 is, of course, the suspension. And he has a 4-game suspension. But with Le'Veon, there's a couple of problems that I'm running into that I'm worried about. First off, with Le'Veon Bell, is Le'Veon Bell the best running back in the game? I say yes. He is, in my opinion, the absolute best running back in the National Football League. So you have to be saying, so Tate, if he's the best running back in the game, why do you have him at number 7? And the number 7 is this. Sure, he has a suspension. The suspension doesn't bug me as much as it bugs other people. I look at the suspension as a situation where that's 4 less games that he has to run at the beginning of the year. It gets him fresh going right into, that the midpoint of the season where he can be strong the entire season. I love that factor. But the one thing I don't like is this. He's one more screw up away from being out of the league. Where this suspension is because he didn't show up for the drug test. Well, another one, and he's done for the year. So he's on a very thin rope. And, I could see the Steelers starting to prepare just in case things happen. They have a phenomenal backup running back in DeAngelo Williams, where I could see, again, where DeAngelo Williams can come in for those first 4 games and really do well like he did last year. DeAngelo Williams was one of the top 3 running backs in the NFL last year. So you have a situation where DeAngelo Williams is going to come in. He could tear it up, especially on this team that has weapons on top of weapons. So you have DeAngelo Williams coming in. Le'Veon Bell's on suspension. And then when Le'Veon comes back, I could see a scenario where they're dividing the carries up between Le'Veon Bell and DeAngelo Williams. I don't think it's going to be this time a situation where you're just going to make Le'Veon Bell your workhorse. And if that's the case, and that's a big worry for me, that's the reason why he's my number 7 running back. It's just strictly out of poor decisions has put him in a situation where he could actually lose carries to the backup, which is DeAngelo Williams. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the number 6 guy. This is a guy who has been in the game and has been nothing but a rock star running back for a long time. But he's coming off of a major injury, and that is Jamal Charles. Jamal Charles is getting older. He's coming off of he injured one knee. Now he's injured the other knee. He's had so many major injuries, and now he's coming back. And I tell you what, they got the Kansas City Chiefs has not just 1, but 2, but 3 really great running backs on this roster, and they've all proven that they can carry the load. Kansas City likes to run the ball, and they got running backs to do it. And I could see a situation where this year they're gonna kind of coddle Jamal Charles, where they're gonna kind of protect him a little bit early in the season. I could see him sharing carries a lot throughout this whole season, trying to get to the playoffs because they want to be able to use him a lot more later in the season. I think it's a smart decision on their part if they did this. So I could see Jamal Charles's carries being dropped a lot. He's one of my guys where I worry about. He's that guy that you want to draft early, but is it smart to draft early? And it's crazy to say this, but I'm skipping Jamal Charles on my draft strictly because I'm not sure what's going to happen with Andy Reid and what he's going to do with the running back situation, because they have running backs that are very capable, and that's a huge, huge concern. So you're looking around and you're saying you do not want to get in a situation where you have a solid running back that you've taken in the first round and he's not getting all the carries. If you're going to take a running back in the first round, you want a guy that's going to carry the load. And there's a chance that he could carry the full load, but there's also an outside chance that he's going to split carries. And that's not something I want to do. I would look at Jamal Charles as a second-round pick, and that's where I would go. As a matter of fact, when I think about it, I kind of look at Le'Veon Bell and Jamal Charles as both in the same situation where if they're getting the full load, these are possibly the top 2 running backs in the league. But there's some things you got to worry about with both of these guys. And so with that, you got to be careful. Now, when I come back, I'm going to touch on the next 5 guys. That's the top 5 guys that you must take with your first round draft pick. Stay tuned.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
All right, we're back, and we've talked about our first 5 running backs that we were looking at, and we looked at guys like Eddie Lacy, we looked at LaShawn McCoy, Devontae Freeman, we looked at Le'Veon Bell, and we looked at Jamal Charles. That was our 6 through 10. And there's other running backs out there that didn't quite make the list. And I know there's a lot of people just asking about Mark Ingram and Doug Martin and guys like and C.J. Anderson and guys like that. Those guys are kind of right outside that number. They're right outside that top 10. I'm not spending a first round draft pick on these kind of guys. I may not even spend a second round draft pick on guys like that. I'm looking for guys that are surefire going to hit. And that's these top 5 guys that I'm about to touch on right now. Okay, and with that, I'm going to go with my number 5 guy. And a lot of people are going to be surprised at my number 5 guy because most people are going to have him as the number 2 running back in the league. But I'm going to give my number 5 guy is David Johnson from the Arizona Cardinals. This guy has talent for days. He is a talented running back. And he's going to be on a winning team. He's going to get a lot of carries. He's my number 5 guy. The reason why he should be my number 1 guy. But he's my number 5 guy strictly because Bruce Arians said he wants to spread that ball around. And he wants to give it to Chris Johnson and Andre Ellington and David Johnson. And, even if he does share the carries, he's still a first round draft pick. But I could see a situation where they really want to spread that around. This team is super talented. Arian has proved that, he doesn't mind running the score up. So a lot of games that are ahead, where you would traditionally give the ball to your running back and just bring you home, Arian's going to keep on throwing that ball. So you're not going to get a lot of the garbage time scores and yardage that you're thinking you're going to get with a guy on a team like the Arizona Cardinals, who could be and is my Super Bowl pick to go to the Super Bowl, because they're going to run the score up on some teams. And that means a lot of Carson Palmer, and there's going to be a lot of passing. So it's not going to affect him overall. He's still a must-draft guy. He's that guy that you want to get. And if I'm wrong, worst case scenario, you have the best running back in football. And as long as he stays healthy, the worst case you got the number 1 running back in the game. Worst case scenario, as long as he's healthy, you got the number 5 running back in the game. He's going to get some carries. He's going to make things happen. The only reason why he's been knocked down a little bit is strictly because of the fact that Arians is going to throw the ball a lot. He wants to run the ball by committee a little bit and give Chris Johnson and Andre Ellington a little bit of carries as well. So that's why I dropped him down. Now, my next guy is a guy that a lot of people are going to be surprised on. But my next running back is Adrian Peterson. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by that. But Adrian Peterson is my number 4 running back. All day has been a freak of nature. And he has been the best running back in the game. He's the best running back I may have ever seen in the modern football in the turn of this century, where since 2000 he may be the best running back I've seen. He's a Hall of Famer. The reason why I have him where I have him ranked is strictly because of the fact that he's getting older. And with running backs, it's a light switch. The lights are on, and everybody can see it's a party. But out of nowhere, when running backs stop, it's not a gradual. It's a stop. It's a dead standstill. Push the brakes. We're no longer moving. I don't know if this is that year, but if I got the number 1 overall pick, I just don't want to take that risk. And that's the only reason why Adrian Peterson isn't ranked higher, is strictly because I don't know what I'm going to get with him. I think he's still going to be Adrian Peterson all day. But when you get to his age, all day could turn into no way before you know it. And you don't want to get stuck in that kind of situation. So that's why I've knocked him back a little bit. So I'm moving on. Another running back that I have in my list that is just, this guy here, this is the year where I think this guy is going to become a household name. This is the year where this guy has his breakout star year, and that's Lamar Miller of the Houston Texans. Lamar Miller has all the tools to be a stud. You want to back your wagon up to this guy, and you want him to take you on into the fantasy football championship, and he is good enough to do it. And so you definitely want to get with him. The only drawback with him is how good are the Texans? If the Texans have a decent year, which I think they'll have a decent year, then he is a factor. That's the only drawback. He is one of the cream of the crop, best running backs in the game. And so that's why I have him there. You should definitely take his flyer on him. He is worth an early draft pick, and I'm definitely giving it to him. Now, here's a surprise. This is the surprise where everyone is thinking, would probably think I'm crazy. But my number 2 running back is Ezekiel Elliott, a rookie. And you gotta be thinking, I know you're thinking, there's no way you're taking a rookie running back and making him the number 2 running back in the entire game. But guys, yes I am. And let me tell you why. There was a guy named DeMarco Murray. You guys remember him? Played for the Cowboys, set all kind of records, put up all kind of crazy yards. Well, Ezekiel Elliott is now behind that Dallas Cowboy offensive line. There's no other running back that's going to he's going to carry the load. The Cowboys have proven that they like having a workhorse running back, and Ezekiel Elliott is that guy. They're going to turn around and they're going to give that ball to Ezekiel Elliott early and often. Also, early in the season, they really want to protect Tony Romo and that shoulder, so they're really going to run the ball a lot. And that means Ezekiel Elliott is going to get carries. When DeMarco Murray was behind that line and was performing, he got all-time record carries. He got so many carries. Well, Ezekiel Elliott is young enough to have those carries. And then here's the other thing that makes Ezekiel Elliott way more dangerous than anyone realizes, and that is this. As well as he can run the ball, he can catch the ball. So you got a guy like Le'Veon Bell who can catch the ball, who can run the ball, he can do it all. He's that running back. Ezekiel Elliott can be in there first down, second down, and third down. Short yardage, passing downs, He's your every play running back. That's the kind of running back you want. He's young. He's in every play. He's in the passing downs. There's not a scenario where Ezekiel Elliott needs to come out of the game, and that's all you're asking for when you're looking for a running back is have him on the field so he can perform, and that guy can do it. And so that's why he is my number 2 running back. Now, my number 1 running back is the guy that was the breakout star of the year last year, and that is Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley is that franchise of the LA Rams. The Rams need to come out strong. Jeff Fisher knows that. I think Jeff Fisher knows he has to have a good year to keep his job, and I think he's going to tie himself to Todd Gurley. You have a rookie quarterback, so you don't want your quarterback throwing a lot, so that means handoff, short screens. Todd Gurley's going to have a breakout year. That's the guy you want. I think across the board, everyone would agree that Todd Gurley is the number 1 running back in the NFL. Not everyone may agree where you want to draft him, but he is definitely that running back where you want him on your team and doing and touching the ball. So my running backs go as follows. I got Todd Gurley. I got Ezekiel Elliott. I have Adrian Peterson, Johnson, Lamar Miller, Jamal Charles, Le'Veon Bell, Devontae Freeman, and LaShawn McCoy, Eddie Lacy. Guys that didn't make my list that are right outside there. Mark Ingram didn't make my list. Doug Martin didn't make my list. C.J. Anderson didn't make my list. Carlos Hyde and Matt Forte, who I love, but Matt Forte is that guy who's got a little bit older and he's on a new team, so I'm a little worried about him. When we come back, we're going to talk about the guys that you wouldn't be thinking about, but these are your sleepers. These are the guys that are going to get that'll be on your team. That's going to make things happen. We're going to end this show, but our next episode, which will be following this one, is going to be strictly about, this is part 2, running back sleepers. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Tate. Always remember to follow us by going to Facebook and Twitter. You can go to www.gsmcpodcast.com to listen to our show. And like I said, Facebook, you can download us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and we're available on almost all apps that download podcasts. So check us out. Thank you, and good night.